Okay.
The history is starting.
Season 2 is starting, man.
Season 2!
Season 2!
I always like season 2 of everything, so...
Wow. That's a really good point.
No, actually...
Although Shrek 2 isn't that great.
But it's not a season, that's the second part of the movie.
Yeah, second movies aren't always the best.
They usually actually make a lot of effort when they make second seasons.
Yeah, because the first season worked well, so then they're like, let's pump it up. So we're gonna pump this shit up. Welcome to this episode. This is the intro episode of Season 2 of The Learning Experience. And it's crazy, guys. We're back. Back with The Learning Experience. Back with this podcast. I'm so excited. The last episode was released in September. And now we're back. And I'm not alone. It's not just me as the host anymore. I have my friend Mladen. Say hi, Mladen.
Hello, everybody.
We have him here, and he's going to host a few episodes, and then I'm going to host a few episodes. And it's going to be super cool, because we're basically splitting it up and making it more dynamic so that you have different voices. And in this first episode, this is just the intro. We're going to introduce each other, talk a little bit about who we are, why we were bringing it back, how Mladen jumped onto this cool train of podcasting, and go over other things such as what are our learning journeys in the world of non-formal education, as well as coaching, as well as online learning, all these very fun topics, as well as the art and science of learning in general, because that's what this podcast is all about. So, to jump in, oh yeah, and a little bonus at the end that Mladen wants to do a performance. That'll be fun as well. We'll see if he does it or not.
No. Let's see if you work me out during the episode.
Yeah.
Maybe. I have a stage fright.
It'll be okay. And yeah, so to start, let's introduce ourselves. As I'll go first. Most people, if you listen to this podcast before, you know my name is Oskar Woehr. Right now, I'm doing quite a few things. My main projects are around coaching for high performance, productivity, and mental well-being, helping people, especially young entrepreneurs, get their shit together so that they can focus on their goals and get to where they want. And then I also run a CBD business in Switzerland, and now this podcast is back as well, so this will be a major project. And otherwise, also working with Trainers Forum in general. And for those who don't know, Trainers Forum is a community of awesome educators and learners who love to advance the science of learning, as well as exploring the artistic side and just being awesome trainers in general and sharing very cool tools. We have a community actually on Facebook if you want to join. If you're in that group of people, please feel free, because there are a lot of awesome information shared there, as well as our annual conference. And that's from me. I'm Mladen. Who are you? Why are you here? What are you up to?
Hi everybody. My name is Mladen. I originally come from Serbia, but I lived last 5 years in Iceland. I moved there to study, and I'm currently on education and mathematical education track. Super interesting. I think I made my studies more unique because it's like a blend of more departments. So I'm taking classes from like humanities and then also from mathematical department, and I also did some other like speed courses around Europe, and that's where my passion for non-formal education comes from, because I just was always interested in learning, and it's been 10 years since I've done like workshops and sessions and all these things around learning in non-formal education. So that's why I'm here to just explore that field a little bit more in this podcast. I'm currently the head of NGO here that is focusing on developing leadership in young people, and I'm actually in charge of the educational cycle here, and I'm super hyped about that. I'm always looking for new methods and new sessions that I can deliver there. Just don't tell them because I also have other opportunities and other things that I have to do. But this is my favorite. So yeah, that's about me.
So you're a master learner and educator, which is super cool. So how did you come into this podcast, and what is your reason for being here, would you say?
Oh yes, let's go into that topic. Last year I really wanted to join this group of trainers because I don't think I ever was in any group of trainers and educators, which is Trainers Forum 4. And I was recruited, and I just said I have all these like crazy creative ideas that I would like to do. And if you guys didn't know, Trainers Forum is very open for those type of initiatives. And then we sort of decided that I can contribute to the podcast. Well, back in 2020, there was an online training. There was an online training festival, and I really loved how people had sessions there and the learning happening in that environment. And I actually met Oskar there. So Oskar and I go back to that online training festival.
Almost a year.
And then after that,
yeah,
almost a year, I think. Yeah. And yeah, I just wanted to stay in touch with those people and contribute to their community as well.
Yeah, and I can vouch for your creativity for sure. I know that you love creating beautiful pictures, and that's why this podcast is going to start an Instagram page as well. It's because of Mladen, because he's very good at designing posts and designing social media content in general, which is super cool. So I appreciate that, man.
Thank you so much for that. I really enjoy doing that. So you're going to see a lot of content there, hopefully. And yeah, follow us there. We have a page already.
Hell yeah. And when this podcast comes out, hopefully we'll get some people following it, because it's going to be a bit separate from Trainers Forum. The podcast in general is still linked to Trainers Forum, but now we have our own Instagram page, which is cool. And yeah, so what else do we want to talk about in this episode? Basically, what do we expect from this season, and what have we gotten prepared? So we can start with you. What are you hoping to do in this second season in Mladen?
Well, this is my first season, so for me, second season is the first season. But what my idea is, was and then now is, because we developed it a little bit more with Oskar, and yeah, it's going to focus on non-formal education. How is the learning happening there? And when we talk about non-formal education, it's everything outside of the formal education, which is elementary, primary school, and high school and university. And there's just so much there. And this is what I find interesting, because not many people know of the opportunities that are out there. So we're just going to bring a couple of people to talk about non-formal education and also their journey, because most of them are also coaching and facilitating. And we just want to show how strong this learning body is as a non-formal education. And Oskar, what are you going to talk about in your episodes, and what is your focus?
Yeah, super similar. And actually, that's a great point that you bring up, because I think that non-formal education is something that needs to be brought more to the public. Of course, the audience listening to this are usually non-formal educators already, but still, people may share it with their friends and reach a wider audience, which will be super cool. And just in general, I'm reading this book called, it's by Jim Quick, and I'll look it up in just a sec. But basically, he's talking about how often we're taught what to learn instead of how to learn. And because we're just in this very straight line of basically learning specific things and just putting these specific pieces of knowledge into our head, we're not really learning how we can expand our knowledge once we go beyond the schooling system. Oh yeah, the book is called Limitless. And that's also why we in Trainers Forum and you as a non-formal educator have such an important role, is because this type of learning is quite crucial. since the traditional schooling system isn't doing it. And that's what I really like about being a trainer and coach, because it helps people to go beyond their traditional mindset and be open to learning new things, but also learning how to learn new things and identify these opportunities. And yeah, in this season, what I'm going to be talking about is also, interviewing and talking with people around the non-formal education sector, and as well as still bringing back some spices from the first season, which was tools and techniques for trainers, which you can use to better your own methods. Yeah, so that's what this second season is going to be about. We're doing it about half-half, 3 episodes each, or 4 maybe. And yeah, going to make it short and sweet, but also very dynamic, I'd say. Right? That's what it's looking like for now. You have any other comments on that, Mladen?
I don't have any comments now. I'm just thinking what we should ask so that we keep on talking.
Yeah. This first episode is pretty chill in general, I think. Like just us getting to know each other, or getting the audience to know us, because that's the cool thing. And we don't want to make it too long, but basically to share what we are expecting from this season. And also, if you're listening to this and want to come on the podcast, or at least ask a question or learn about a specific topic, please share that, because we always have the opportunity to bring in more people or talk about more topics. So please feel free to do that. And one thing that I think it's important to mention also is that since this season might be a bit shorter than the last one, since the last one went for about a year, you might expect this third season to start in September, I think we were saying, because there are some other people from Trainers Forum who want to come on and put another twist to it. But that's some special bonus that you'll have to wait for. In any case, speaking about podcasting in general, we said that we were a bit nervous for this episode because it's a new season, and I've kind of developed my podcasting voice right now to express myself better. And that was actually one of my goals for the first season, which was to be able to express myself better in audio. And so I'm less nervous, but you said that you were feeling that a bit right now. No?
Yes, I do feel a little bit nervous when I talk with people that I don't know, or just knowing that my voice is recorded. And like most people, I would say, we don't like to hear ourselves recorded. But I also need to find that podcast voice. I hope after a couple of episodes you'll see. But we're gonna mix them up, so you won't know which episode is actually filmed the first, which makes a little bit more less stressful for me, because then they cannot say, oh, first episode with Mladen is good or bad, so it's gonna be a tricky thing. But what I wanted to ask you as well, because you have all this experience now with leading the podcast for 1 year, what were the things that were going through your mind? Because you did this all on your own. How was it at the beginning?
True. So I had been wanting to start a podcast for like a couple of years before that, I'd say. Like when I was in university, my 3rd year of university, I was talking to a friend. I was like, man, we should start a podcast. And he was like, how do you do that? I have no idea. And then I was like, me neither. And then nothing happened. So then when I joined Trainers Forum, which was in 2019, basically first I joined as a conference organizer. So I organized the conference. And then I wanted to stay on a little bit, doing something different, because organizing conferences is quite heavy. And usually you just want to move on after it, but it's very cool. So I said, okay, I still have this feeling of wanting to start a podcast, and this is the perfect opportunity because I get to talk with awesome people in a field that I really enjoy. And it gives me exposure as well, and for my own personal brand. Plus, I had a person called Sabina, and she was head of the incubator circle for Katrina's forum, and so she helped me a lot with like starting the podcast. Basically, she's very awesome at helping to get you motivated and set goals. So me and her, we started it up. I mean, she helped me plan it out and get it off the ground and keep me accountable. And then from that moment, I was doing most of the things of recording, scripting, not scripting. I didn't really script shit in the beginning, but finding the people and recording and editing. And yeah, in the beginning it was very difficult, for sure. Like I was telling you right before we hit record, was that the first episode I couldn't think about anything else except for like my notes, that I wanted to make sure that I hit all the points. So yeah, that first episode, apparently it's pretty good because it has almost the most amount of listens from season 1. So I guess people enjoyed it. But otherwise, yeah, it's become a lot more relaxed now. Like being able to actually listen to the person so I can interact better and then share some of my own experiences overall. But yeah.
Yeah, I can confirm that. I can confirm that it helped me with active listening, and I think that people figured out from some of our meetings with Trainers Forum that I'm talking a lot, and Oskar knows that. But then when it comes to podcasts, like somehow I don't have any ideas for questions because I like having things structured, but then when it's a podcast, then I ran out of ideas. And then on the other hand, if this was like a normal conversation, I would be just blah 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 all the time. So yeah, I mean, it's good because we did explore all the topics that we wanted in these episodes, but that was like an internal struggle. You press record and then this has to be nicely said, nicely done, and on the other hand, you want to keep up the conversation, you want to listen, but it is a true active listening because you're also doing things around like muting yourself, or if you need to, or just paying attention how to make a smooth transition from one topic to another, or to keep up with the topics. And it also happened a few times that I don't know if the other podcast hosts have this problem. We say something that we're going to ask our people, and either they go in a different direction and you try to bring it back, or with me what happened is that I start the question and then I go in a different direction. So
Wow.
People that I'm interviewing or talking with, they're just like, what is happening? So I was really trying to manage that. So managing myself and my voice.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. No, it's yeah, in podcasting you feel like you need to be at the same time listening to what the person is saying, so maybe you can continue the conversation in a way that's engaging, but also moving it forward so that you get through the points that you want to cover, or at least provide the value to the audience that's listening at the same time, right? Because right now, what is going through my mind is, what do the people listening want to hear? And if it's the same audience as before, they want to hear about things that, they probably want to hear what are some things to look out for when podcasting, or understand how it feels to be here in this space, and to know that it can be a bit nerve-wracking in the beginning, but actually, I think if there's a person that wants to start a podcast, fucking just do it. No, but it, like anything that you start for the first time, it's always a bit tricky. And if you want some help, just send us a message, actually. Like, for real, I even have a mini course on how to start your own podcast that's for free. So if a person wants to learn, just like, I'll send that video to you. But otherwise, it's a very cool thing because you get to learn from awesome people. Like, I've done a couple interviews already, and I've already learned some really awesome techniques. One about negotiation, which was super fun. And then somebody from the Iceland Innovation Hub, which is quite fascinating. So yeah, got some cool things prepared. And then I think we also wanted to talk about the art of learning and our own learning experiences. So you said that you had been a trainer for like 10 years? No, that's crazy.
Well, it's been 10 years that I did facilitation in general, and I did training in, let's say, not like I'm a trainer type of way, but I was, for example, when I was in Serbia, I was in this organization called American Corner. So we delivered like conversational workshops, and then few of us, the group that was organizing those events, were facilitating the conversation in between people. And it was super interesting. And we were all young, like we were like 15, 16, something like
Wow.
that. And then after that, I joined the writing center and actually learned how to help people put their ideas on paper. So it's not just, okay, you have to write about you write a thesis on philosophy, and then I'm just gonna tell you what to do. So we really use some methods how to help people work it out. And I'm someone who's using parts from my experience to use it again. So when it comes to conversational skills, I use those from the writing center when I was working on other projects. And then when it comes to training, I think it actually started when I joined the organization that I work now, called Isaac. And I went on Train the Trainers events, and I was teaching others how to do sessions, and that was when it became very focused on training, and I really enjoy doing that. And I feel like I'm a judge on some talent show when you give on Train the Trainers. I love those events, and when I was a FASI there 2 times, once in Lithuania and once in Switzerland, it was super cool because I do want to help people out, and then that feeling like Simon Cowell in the red chair, and then you just tell them, okay, this is working, this is not working. And I'm a very visual person, like visual learner. So when they're doing something that has to be either changed or like lowered down, because you have to find a balance when you're a trainer with talking, with body language, also with how you do the materials. And I always exaggerate so that they can see how that thing that they're doing can go in one extreme or not going in any extreme and looking like weird. So that's what they really loved about me in those events, because I would just show them how it looks like and do like a character or something. They're like, man, like, what? When you explain it like that, it's just super simple and super funny. And then I won't do this again. I'll improve. I'll work towards it. So you see what I did there. You asked one question and I went in completely different direction. But yeah, going back to my trainer's journey, it was definitely that, because I do a lot of training things in Isaac now, and I don't know, I love it. It's a lot to make a session and to actually make it a good quality, because sometimes you're like, okay, I have read this book, let me just put it in a session, but you also want to make it more interactive. You have to think about the learning styles. You have to think about engaging those people so that they learn in the right way and they take something from your session. So that's also what I like, designing things and delivering, and then seeing their reaction afterwards, because you don't know when you're actually doing it, and then when you get the feedback, it's like amazing. And how about you? Because I think you were also my personal coach last summer, which was super fun, and I'm telling everyone about it. So go and take a course with Oskar. Take this. I think it was like 8 week long.
Yeah, I'm actually expanding it now. It's going to be a bit longer, but yeah.
Yeah, but tell me more about your training journey, because I think I know only from the point that we met and things that you did.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think I've told you about my training journey, and it is something kind of cool that I like to share, because it started in university. Well, in high school I was into personal development a lot in general, just following big coaches or people who were living awesome lifestyles and then delivering magical experiences, but I didn't experience it myself that much. I was just watching on YouTube. And then in university, it wasn't until my second year where I led a student conference around It was called Leap Conference, and it was about breakthrough experiences or people who had come to some kind of success through unconventional means. And one of the organizers who was helping me, she was a trainer who had done gone through a T4T, and invited me to go to leadership summer school. And she was like, "Yeah, you're perfect for this. You should try it out." So then I went, and I completely changed my mind about how to learn and how to, deliver learning experiences and how to interact with people, and basically completely blew my mind. Leadership summer school was one of the best experiences, and still is, that I've ever had. And then so after leadership summer school, which is basically 10-day experience with other youth where you can learn about how to be a better leader, but it's so much more than that. I attended another event by the same organizers called Youth Trainers Academy. That was a few months after that. And at Youth Trainers Academy, which is also a 10-day event, you learn how to become a trainer, and you learn a ton of awesome tools and new mindset skills that put me on the training journey. And I learned what it means to be a trainer, and basically learn how to upgrade education in general, which is super cool. And then after that one, I took the next step, and I just kept going, doing my coaching certification a few months after that. And then, you have a question on Mladen?
I was waiting for you to finish up.
Okay. I did the coaching certification with the World Coaching Organization. I think now they changed their name to Growth Room. And then after that, I still had some university, so I did one more year of university to finish my bachelor. And I tried to start my own coaching business for like a year, and it wasn't really taking off. So then I had to take another step, another piece of training, which was getting my own business coach, and she taught me a lot of awesome tools to just increase sales and stuff like that. And then I started growing my coaching business more through that. And apart from that, with the pandemic, I started to do a lot more online training, which has been a lot of fun. And actually I would say my preferred way of doing training now, because you can reach so much more people and still make it super interactive if you know how. And that is basically my learning and training journey. And I'm still doing it quite a lot. Now, in my current role as a coach, I have my own business in terms of that, doing the coaching and everything myself in this business, but with a small team as well. But then I also work with another company back in Switzerland, and there I've created some sales training materials, which has also been kind of cool, because there I'm getting more into sales and marketing and training that. And that's the journey so far.
Nice. I think both of us have like completely different experience, but what I wanted to take from your story is this wow factor when you went on that conference. And for me, it was also those conferences. Like I remember when I was in Lithuania in 2019, and I was the first time delivering content at the conference as a facilitator. And that wow factor was happening there, like completely changed my life, like you said, for that other conference. And it just made me feel like, okay, I want to create more experiences for myself through these projects, but also for other people, because other people also enjoyed and had so much fun. Of course, at the end, when we finished, we all cried like babies. But out of emotions, that's the thing that is happening in formal education. Well, when we talk about formal education in terms of these conferences and let's say youth organizations and maybe some organizations connected with university but not in a formal way, they do have this wow factor that you just learn from other people. You learn in this, I would say, interactive environments, because there are so many methods that you can learn, and it's very practical, very, let's say, experiential. And it's not that present in the formal education. And I don't want to shade on formal education, but formal education already has a structure that has been built up in the last, I would say, extensively in the last 200 years, with education being accessible to masses, I would say.
Yeah.
So they do have certain, let's say, agenda. So we want to have these profiles when they finish education. We want these other profiles on some other university. And that after a while became very too structural, that the people that finish university, they don't necessarily have all the skills. They have the knowledge, but they don't have the skills for to enter the job market. And one of the things that I like in non-formal education that I just explained, these youth organizations and practical experience that you can get from them, is that you experience the work, and you get to have more to show on a job market, because there's a really big gap, I would say, between corporate sector and youth now, because that age between, let's say, in your 20s, and you want to enter the job market, but you only have your university degree, it's very competitive. And I think the role of non-formal education is usually not seen that as valuable enough. But I also have a statistical information. They did a survey with youth. I think it was like around 30,000 people from all around the world. And youth agrees that in order to start your job and to start your career, you must have some touch with non-formal education. It's a very essential part. I think it was 40 or even more % that they answered like this. So I think from our experiences with facilitation and with training and this wow factor, I think you can just see the value, because it's not just going through non-formal education so that you get something to put on a CV. You also get these experiences, connections that are lifelong, and they change you. They do change you, because most of the people that are in non-formal education started as youth or are already youth. So they don't want to make anything that is going to be boring. They want to have something interactive. They want to have very practical things. They learn from mistakes, and it's just amazing.
That's true. And yeah, just to define non-formal education, it's like basically education outside of the traditional system, but also making it more experiential, which is the fun part, right? Making it more hands-on, more interactive, where instead of just text to brain knowledge transfer. And that's what we're talking about. And I totally agree. I think who says that learning can't be fun? I think that's the most important part, because also when you connect the emotions with learning, then it registers better in your brain. That's also one of the biggest points that non-formal education has, is because when you're making it more fun, it makes it more memorable, and you're basically embodying this new knowledge, which you can then transfer to other people and use in your daily life even better. Whereas when you're cramming knowledge into your head, like I had to learn about the history of psychology, I think, and like animal psychology, and I don't remember shit about that. But because the teacher was just very like knowledge into brain, right? It wasn't as interactive. But then I had some professors, because I was quite lucky to be in a university where they encouraged group projects and different types of learning, like back from the classroom learning. And those are the teachers and experiences that I actually remember. So that's what also this podcast is about, and in general, which is to uplift and bring out that part of learning in a different way, which can be even more impactful depending on the topics as well. Yeah, which is another thing that you need to think about. Like, depending on the topic, you can. For some, it's easier to make it more experiential versus others. Like, for doctors, yes, they should know probably all the parts of the body and all the cells and how all that shit works. And instead of learning it from a book, maybe they could learn it from doing surgery, or like at least observing and approaching it in different ways instead of just from a book, because that makes it a lot more real life and understandable. Yeah. Thanks so much for sharing that, Mladen.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Cool. Cool, man. Is there anything else you want to share in terms of what you think is the future of learning and what we hope to do with this podcast in terms of that?
For the podcast, I don't know yet. I am so obsessed with it, I would say. I'm really excited to see the reactions and what people will get from our new season. And I think we can set it up to be something run for a while, I would say. And as you mentioned at the beginning, we are in talk with some other let's say ideas to make third season a little bit again different, because this one is going to be around this topic of non-formal education, but in general what we do now is non-formal education as well, and what they do in the trainers forum is non-formal education. So I think that non-formal education is not gonna leave anytime soon. But I think that putting a little bit more structure into it, which was one of my initiatives, is going to like, for me, it's a really passionate topic, and I just hope that you'll see the value, because we talked with at least I would say like 6-7 people for this podcast, and it's like completely different point of view, and I love that we can bring that with non-formal education as a focus area.
Yeah, it's about bringing everybody's opinion and experience and knowledge together and helping everybody bring out their strengths, right? So that's super cool. I'm looking forward to this season, and also appreciate that you brought some structure and pre-planning, since we've recorded most of the episodes already, and then we can make sure that everybody is prepared and can follow along the journey.
Yes, that's true. And if you guys didn't know, Oskar and I never met in person. So for us, this is like very Corona-friendly environment for all of us. But I hope that by the end of this year, we will get to have some like fun on these conferences that we're talking about, and maybe something with the Traders Forum, so that we can actually see ourselves in person and have this feeling of non-formal education that we just talked about.
Yeah, exactly. No, true. I mean, you can create them online. I've had some awesome online experiences as well, but true, in person is quite different. Yeah.
I was chairing a conference a few weeks ago, and it was online, and for me it was super weird because I was making it like it's in person, but also like it's not in person. And then you just don't know what people think. So I'm starting, opening the conference and like doing some jokes, and I don't know if people are laughing. So that was one of the things that I was confused about. But then when we got the feedback, it was all okay. But still, something that you want to do in person, and something that also whatever you want to do on the screen, it's a 50-50 chance if it's going to work or not. So you really have to, because we didn't explore digital facilitation that much as in the last 12 months. And even though the conference was for 3 days, all online, at the end, we had that moment. I think we had that moment that I had on these previous conferences that were in person, that we were like having like nostalgic feelings and like sad feelings that it's getting to an end. But also that we learned so many things that we put so much effort, and that the delegates also put the effort to the sessions that they attended as well.
Yeah, it's so sad when it comes to an end, but it's a really cool feeling afterwards as well, when you're like, yeah, we made it. That's awesome, man. Yeah, one of the coolest ones I've been to, apart from the online training festival by Trainers Forum, which was fantastic this year and last year as well, and it's coming up next year as well for anybody interested. There was also an event by Tony Robbins. I've been to a couple of his events in the past year, which have been online, and he does it insanely well. Like, you get physical materials that you can use to follow what he speaks about, and then they do breakout sessions as well to make it a bit more interactive, and just over delivers by making sure that you're always being physical as well. So, there's so many different ways you can make online learning experiences very engaging, which is cool.
Yeah, that's true. I think there's so much innovation happening now with other organizations that want to empower youth in this environment, because it's again a problem that we're not engaged at the university, and when you have like first year students that just started but they never met each other if the university was closed for a while. So it's a shame for those people to try something but not actually experiencing it in the right way, or not experiencing it in the way that was initially planned. So I think that youth organizations in general in Europe are doing a really great job. And if someone is listening that is not a part of any, you don't have to be a part of youth organizations, because they have like these mini trainings, webinars, events, and just join them. And it might be weird at the beginning, but you'll definitely get something out of it. Even if it's something negative, you just know what you want maybe for the next time. And I see that many of them also focus on soft skills, but on the other hand, emotional intelligence, because this is really important, because we mostly focus on let's just build our skills in, I don't know, where it comes to IT, like software development and things like that, but we don't focus on like our communication and how our emotional intelligence is supposed to be on some level, so that you can actually interact with people. And I like that we are going that it's exploding, that non-formal education is having so many more initiatives and that people enjoy them.
Yeah, I think that's going to be especially important since we're going to be more in the online and digital world, and it's going to continue to grow. So yeah, we're probably going to have less in physical interactions or interactions in general, so that's going to be even more important in terms of how to understand others and communicate effectively. And yeah, we've been talking for almost 45 minutes now, so I'm wondering if you want to do a little performance. Nah, just kidding, man.
Performance. Okay, let's see if we get, maybe the outro episode could be with a
yeah, it could be.
We'll see. For the third season, when we start it, I promise I'll prepare one bit of some acoustic
nice
sounds.
That'd be fantastic. Yeah, if we get 2,000 plays over this season, let's say that, because that's how many we got for the first season. So let's go a little bit higher, like 2,500. Then Mladen will do a little performance and I'll dance in the background. Sounds good?
Sounds good. And also, guys, we're going to be on YouTube. So even if you don't have Spotify and don't have any streaming service, you can still watch our episodes there. And if this performance happens, then the video is probably going to be there.
Yeah, exactly. So go check us out and share this with your friends. We're going to be on YouTube. We have an Instagram account now. Go check out Turners Forum. Go check out Mladen on Instagram as well. Myself, Oskar Woehr, on everywhere. I'm on TikTok too now, because my social media manager said I should be there. And yeah, otherwise, hope you enjoyed this season. Thank you so much for coming. Again, share everything that you learn and send us voice notes as well, because that's cool. Anything else you want to add, Mladen?
No, I agree with everything. I just cannot wait for people to listen to our podcast and just to see the social media interactions between.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Ciao.
Thank you, guys. Bye.